Yeah, so like you were saying, whether you intend to sell it or not, obviously it's important to be aware of those types of things to give yourself, like you were saying, a little bit more relief from that day-to-day grind. Because one of the biggest things we see in dog training, obviously, is young trainers just working a gazillion hours a week and just completely burning themselves out because you can't escape it, especially when you have dogs in your care 24 hours a day, you know?
Yeah, I think burnout rates are widely underreported in this industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, like when I get contact forms in for my coaching, like burnout is like top of the list as far as like some of the common things that people, because I always ask people to like list their goals, and like dealing with burnout is pretty high on there. Obviously there are some other things that are high on there too, but that's definitely one of them. So helping people kind of structure their businesses in such a way that it's not so burdensome, you know what I mean? Because that's kind of what it's become for a lot of people. It becomes like a little bit of a burden, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know?
Where do you find the best? So I don't know, how much you stay current on the, dog trainer gossip drama just in the industry, like around social media and everything like that. But where do you find the balance with, there's been a big talk lately amongst, a handful of different dog trainers of like, there's a lot of people that are doing business coaching right now and, teaching people how to run their businesses more efficiently and ultimately, obviously make more money, right? And do things like that. And there's a lot of talk of like, the attention shouldn't be on that. It should be on training the dogs, where my mentality on that is like, I understand the point behind it, right? Like obviously your number one attention shouldn't be like, let's just make more money. But it's like, if we could reduce burnout rates, right? And we could have people operate their businesses more efficiently and be more, have more attention to detail and stuff like that, we're going to provide a better product, right? A lot of the issues that we're seeing within the industry are going to decrease because you're going to have more of a mental capacity to pay attention to those things,
Yeah. I mean, there definitely is a balance there. I think that's a good word to use because let's face it, there are trainers out there. I think we all have seen some of the trainers out there that really focus on, like heavily on income, especially like some, not all, but some of the franchises that are out there are like really income focused, right?
Sure.
And we see some really terrible dog training come out of some of these sources, like god awful dog training. But the reality is like dog training is a hard career. It's not an easy business to be in. I mean, any type of entrepreneurship is challenging, and dog training itself poses some additional very unique challenges as well. And at the end of the day, like if you're not earning a good enough living doing it, then like why freaking bother? Like why would you put yourself through that? Because if you just love training dogs, then like, okay, get a different job that pays really well and then join a dog sport club and train dogs, but or train dogs like on the side. But it's a tough gig to make it your full-time job. Like in the beginning, you probably are going to work a lot of hours. And so there has to be some good return on that. Otherwise, like realistically, why do it? And especially then I get a lot of people where, they're operating out of their homes and then that becomes a tax on their family. And so they want to be able to expand into a facility. And as you know, I mean, you've started and grown multiple, locations and facilities. So I think you know this as well as anybody, including myself. Like running a facility comes with then an even greater set of challenges. And again, it's like, if you're not going to bring home a decent income at the end of that, like, why would you put yourself through it? Like, because now you're not only like training dogs and dealing with all the emotional sort of baggage that can come along with that, especially when you're working with the families and their stress and you're taking that on. I mean, a lot of dog trainers tend to be empaths in a lot of ways. You're dealing with the stresses of entrepreneurship and the ups and downs and the roller coaster ride that can go with that. But then you're also like, there's no way you're going to like really run a facility and not run yourself into the ground without having like at least, I would say 3 to 4 employees. And so now on top of all that, you're throwing on being a manager and also like an HR rep and all those kinds of things that go along with that and all that added stress. So again, it's like, if you're going to do all of that, and I've come across trainers that are like, they're starting their facility and they're like bringing home like $40,000 a year. And it's like, if they didn't have a spouse that was like paying the bulk of their family bill, like there's just no way that would even sustain them. And so again, like, why would you put yourself through that? So I think there does have to be a balance because I mean, like any like, you know, of these like like I'm not into like self-help stuff. Like it's just not my cup of tea. But any of these like kind of like self-help type people will tell you like you can't take care of other people unless you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're burning yourself out, you can barely afford like a decent car. And I'm not talking about driving a Mercedes. I'm just talking about like not driving a jalopy. You know, you're worried about your month-to-month bills. Like it's going to be hard for you to bring your best self to your clients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, it's absolutely a balance. And so I think that's where, and again, like not to toot my own horn, but I think there are very few people out there. I'm not going to say I'm the only one by any stretch, but I think there are very few people out there that have both the sort of respect when it comes to the actual training and behavior knowledge and technique, as well as the business skills. Yeah. And bring those two things together, because a lot of times what we're seeing are like one or the other. There are some like amazing trainers out there, but like they can't run their businesses worth a damn.
Yeah.
And then there are some really good business people out there, but their training leaves a lot to be desired. And there's like a small handful of us that are kind of doing both.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think both are super important. At the end of the day, you know, both are super important.